Okay, good morning, everyone. Great to be with you. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation doing business as Empire State Development for Thursday, September 19th, 2019. As noted on the agenda posted to the internet, we welcome public comment on the items on our agenda. To ensure maximum opportunity for participation, speakers representing themselves may speak for up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak for up to 4 minutes with one speaker per group. Speakers' comments may only address the items considered at today's meeting. As always, the directors have received the written materials in advance of today's meeting, and they are free to ask questions at any time during the presentation. At this time, I'll ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflicts of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. The first item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes of the August 8th, 2019 and August 15th, 2019 directors meeting. Are there any questions, comments, additions, or deletions on either set of minutes? If not,
well, I wasn't present on the August 8th, but I can.
Okay.
I'll move them.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I want to recognize Shonik Ponce, who's joined us representing DFS. So we appreciate your being here on behalf of the agency. I don't believe you've joined us before, so welcome. It's the most exciting thing you will ever do. And you'll be lobbying to come back time and time again. I guarantee it. It's fabulous. I have a important piece of business to advance. And before I get to that, I just want to say briefly, and I've written to all of you, I just want to say what a tremendous honor it's been to have served as CEO of ESD for 4 years, 8 months, a week and a half. And there's no way of describing how proud I am to have worked with all of you in that capacity, how proud I have been to serve the governor, particularly this governor who has accomplished so much, how important it has been to me to be on the team. You know, you are a true team, and you know, you bond with people, and it was always personal to me the way we work together. It's sort of like being in the trenches when you're in agencies like this. We're doing important work, you know, we're working in the public domain. It's just, there has been nothing like it for me in my career up to this point, and there'll really be nothing like it again. When people say, well, what are you going to do now? I'm going to be more bored, truthfully. I mean, that's kind of part of it. But I really appreciate the continued faith and confidence of the governor, and to serve as chair is something I look forward to. So it kind of gives me the opportunity to stay involved and work with Eric and work with the team and work with the board. And so I can't say enough about what a great group of people you are. What a great group of people you are, and what amazing work you do. So it wouldn't be possible without Eric Gertler, because you need a successor. And boy, did the governor find a good successor. So I want to recognize, before I make the motion, I just want to say, as somebody who has served dutifully, professionally, always well prepared and familiar with ESD from his board service, whereas I walked in with like not an iota of government experience, Eric has served in senior leadership at the Economic Development Corporation in New York City. He comes to the job with tremendous background in venture capital, in life sciences, in municipal economic development, in publishing, in private equity. Boy, did I spar with some of those publishers over the years. I'm sure it will be smoother for you. But I could go on, but it's I want to thank Eric for stepping up. It's a big commitment, and he knows it, and he also does it for all the right reasons, obviously. So I want to thank Eric, and again, thank the governor, and thank all of you. I will now ask the directors to approve the appointment of Eric Gertler to the office of President and Chief Executive Officer Designate of Empire State Development. Further, as noted in agenda items 1C, I will also ask directors to approve his appointment, along with the superintendent of the New York State Department of Financial Services, to the various board committees as outlined in the materials. Are there any questions or comments from the directors on either of these items?
It is with great pleasure that I move the motion.
Are there any comments from the public? Eric, this is your last chance.
So I just want I do want some clarification. Do I have any? Do I support? Do I decline? Do I abstain? I mean, what are my choices?
You just run for the door. No. Liz will have to advise you on that. Okay, so you've made a motion.
Made a motion.
There's no comments from the public. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now move to the report section of the agenda. I'll ask our newly appointed president to start things off with his president's report, and then Eric will be followed by Valerie White, our executive vice president and executive director of the Division of Minority and Women's Business Development, to give an overview of the division, which, as you know, has been growing in a remarkable fashion. So, Eric, so
Thank you. Well, in the 90 seconds now that I've been confirmed as president and chief executive officer, as you know, this is obviously my first meeting as president, and I can already tell that this seat occupies way more work than it did when I was sitting over there. So, Shaunak, if you like this seat, we can talk later about how to get closer. It's been, I guess, 2 weeks and 2 days, not quite 4 years and 8 months and 10 days and all that. But it's already been such a privilege, and I do also appreciate the support of the governor and the confidence that he has in me. And I also want to thank Howard for his years of service and his mentorship and his guidance. And I'm glad you're sitting in that chair so I can continue to rely on you for advice. So I appreciate that. Howard talked a little bit about my background, but I can assure you there's a very big difference with dealing with publishers and sparring with journalists, and I'm sure I still get the fun of sparring with journalists who will have many questions. And as Howard said, it's also all about the team, and I appreciate everyone here who has helped to make my first few weeks as easy as possible in terms of the transition, particularly being patient about explaining the acronyms. I'm starting to understand a few of them. So I do appreciate that. I have made it a priority to try and get around the state and meet as much of the regional councils and understand the regions. I came back from the Capital Region yesterday. I've been to Long Island. I've been to Mid-Hudson Valley. I'm looking forward to going to Mohawk Region next week, and hopefully also the Southern Tier. So lots to learn, but I can say that it's just, from what I've seen already, it really is astounding the amount of work that this agency does, but even more importantly, the tremendous impact that this agency has and how grateful people are for the role that we as an agency play and help in terms of helping to support their businesses, job growth, regions. So it's really fun to see that on the ground. And of course, in one of our more important press releases, I've timed this perfectly, so I get to coincide with all the fall foliage that's now going on. So that's very important. So let me just raise a few issues, but of ongoing events, but just to say that I am truly excited to continue all the great work that you've done, Howard, carry on the momentum and build on the strong foundation that the governor has established and Howard has done as well. So first of all, in terms of personnel news, I am pleased to announce that Richard Gagliano has joined us as our new Senior Vice President of Marketing. and he will oversee all marketing initiatives that help to drive our economic development. And I think he's already here, right? Is he here in this meeting, or?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, welcome, Richard. And then just a few of the events and program launches over the last few weeks. First of all, this week, the governor announced the winner of the Buffalo Skyway competition, which Howard has been immersed in. The City Lights Review Our Waterfront proposal won the Aim for the Sky competition. It was submitted by a team based out of Rochester, and the winning proposal envisions a piece of the Skyway being repurposed as Skyway Park, which would provide iconic views and recreational amenities. And I want to thank Chairman Zemsky for his work on that, and congratulations to all that participated. And I know that the entire Buffalo office was overwhelmed with this, getting prepared for it. So thank you to the team up there, and thank you to Howard for your hard work. Also this week, the governor proposed, there was the inaugural meeting of the Upstate Cellular Coverage Task Force, which the governor had proposed in his State of the State earlier this year. And that working group includes representatives from ESD, experts in the field, and partners across government, including local county officials. And its recommendations will help address cell service gaps across rural areas of upstate. And I think I've, in my last few trips, have seen some of those gaps and experienced some of that. So I think this is important work. And then, of course, important to the governor, and proud to announce record-breaking numbers for the Great New York State Fair attendance and statewide tourism. Over 1.3 million visitors attended the fair, about 50,000 more than last year. And this actually started just before the fair began, just before I started. So I'm looking forward to next year, so we can make it 1.3 million and 1 million visitors and set a new record. In 2018, nearly 253 million visitors traveled to New York State, generating an economic impact of almost $115 billion, and generating nearly 1 million jobs, 960,000 to be precise. Direct spending by visitors was $72 billion, an all-time high, and tourism remains the third largest private sector employer in the state. And then two other pieces of good news on September 12th. So on Tuesday, Tuesday, September 12th? No. Thursday. The Nanotronics broke ground on a high-tech manufacturing and research facility. The company has committed to growing its workforce to 190 employees from its current 34. It will also invest $11 million in the project. The company is partnering with CUNY's Medgar Evers College to join the Startup New York program. And this is really a great example of how Governor Cuomo and ESD are growing the state's technology ecosystem. And then lastly, and this happened before I started, but I just wanted to make mention of the Northland Workforce Training Center, which graduated its first students in August. As we know, the workers, the talent, in New York is crucial, and this has been a signature workforce initiative of the Buffalo Billion, and that'll help to increase the number and quality of local candidates prepared for advanced manufacturing careers. So with that initial report, I turn it back to you, Howard, and thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Valerie, we're going to turn it over to you to do your spotlight presentation. We're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Chair Zemsky, board members, for allowing us to present on the Division of Minority and Women Business Development. I just want to recognize that I'm joined by the leadership team of the division, Nicole Stent, who's Vice President of Operations, Dwight Flynn, who is Vice President of Compliance and also the statewide advocate, and our newly appointed Vice President of Business Development, Luke Sevier. So we have quite a bit to do, and this team is very integral in that, and they've been extremely supportive, so I wanted to be sure that they were recognized. Okay? So, our division, Minority and Business Development, we work with the Governor's Office to help support policies and activities that are designed to increase the pool of New York State certified firms and their access to state contracting. The foundation of our work is Governor Cuomo's commitment to the MWBE business community, and it's laid out under Article 15A of the law. So our mission, which is listed there, does talk about equality of economic opportunities and ensuring that there is access to state contracting, but also providing resources and information and training to the MWBE community so that they are able to carry out the work in state contracting. We oversee the entire MWBE effort for all of the 97 state agencies and authorities, but we do sit, and proudly so, in ESD. As part of our mission, there is a goal of 30%, and I'll talk about that as well. But we feel very strongly that that 30% is not just a number, but we're looking to ensure that there is a diverse economy, that there is equity and diversity in access to opportunities within the economy of New York State, and ESD is very important to that, and we proudly sit within this corporation. All right, so as I stated, Article 15A is the premise and the authority that the division operates under to operate the MWBE program. And initially, when that law, the division as it stands now, was set forth in 2011, there was a goal of 20%. State contracting going to minority and women business, and we'll look at the slide in a moment, but we saw that that happened very quickly. And so the goal was moved to 30%, and that was done via information from a disparity study, one conducted in 2010 and then reconducted in 2016, that showed the number of available minority and women businesses across the state that could fulfill some of the state contracting opportunities or what states were spending money on. Each and every state contract with a value of more than $25,000 in commodities or $100,000 in construction has its own individual goals. Every state agency has their procurement strategy. They all have their own MWBE liaisons, but those strategies roll up to the division, and our goal is to ensure that we are assisting all of the state agencies in moving toward the governor's vision of 30% or for minority and women contracting. All state contracts are subject to the goal, as I stated, and generally people always or historically thought about MWBE just purely in construction, but the state spends money on so many other things, and we're actually looking to identify areas where there are gaps in spending, and when I mean by that, there are not enough MWBEs that are available in a pipeline to fill some of the roles that the state contracting is spending on, and that includes areas like construction and professional development, legal services, IT, and the things that are listed there. So since 2011, we have had more than $13 billion in state contracting go to a minority and women business. And in last fiscal year, that was $2.5 billion alone. Here represents the historical growth of MWBE utilization, and as I stated earlier, the goal of 20% was met relatively quickly in 3 years, and we are, inching up to the 30% goal. And again, it'll be great when we meet that goal, but we don't want our program just to be focused on meeting the number and then everything stops. We want to be sure that we are providing equity opportunity for all MWBEs. So the 2019 goal will be announced at our forum, October 2nd and 3rd. I'll talk to you more about that, but if you're really interested in knowing what that number is, then you'll be in Albany on October 2nd, and you can find out then.
Like a teaser.
Yes, it's a teaser. It was the teaser. All right, so I just wanted to point out some of the historical differences, successes that we've had over the years, the growth of the goal, the set of the goal of 20%. In 2012, that was the first time $1 billion in state contracts were awarded to MWBEs, and that was very significant. Then the goal was surpassed, as I said earlier, in 2013. 2014, we had $2 billion in state contracting, also very significant. In 2016, our directory topped over 8,000 MWBE and became the largest in the nation at that point. And then this past year, we had the reauthorization of Article 15A, expansion in the program, and our goal of 30% does remain the highest in the nation. So further support to the overall mission is, again, building equity of opportunity and diversity for the economy, and we do that through our divisions. The Division of Minority Women Business has 4 teams. Our certification team, our agency services, compliance, and business development. So those are key cornerstones in the blocks that move up to us meeting the goal, and I'll talk about each individually. So, as I stated, Article 15A does govern our program, and it states very specifically what group of firms are eligible for certification. So it's any for-profit firm that is at least 51% owned and operated and controlled by individuals who are either women or part of a minority group. And the law does set out very specifically who that is, and it includes persons who are Black with origins from Black African racial groups and Hispanics, and they list out very specifically which Hispanics in South America and the like, the Caribbean, Asian Pacific, individuals from the Far East, South Asia, and the Pacific Islands, Asian Indians, Native Americans with origins of any original people of North America. And then we look also specifically at the ownership and control. There are other guidelines that we have to look at in terms of our criteria. We have, since 2011, between 2011 and August 2019, we added more than 7,900 firms. So now we are at about over 8,700 firms that are certified. There is a great deal of interest in the program, and we do get over 300 applications each and every month. So you can imagine that we do have a number of applications pending. We get to them as soon as we are able, and we are working toward finding ways to streamline the applications. We added some additional certification analysts over the past year. We decreased the amount of documentation that we requested by about 1/3. We've also are updating the New York State contract system where the application process sits. We're working with a fast track application program where we partner with other agencies and organizations that have individual MWBE programs, like the City of New York, the County of Erie, and City of Buffalo, Port Authority have their unique programs, but we work with them. But we are looking to ensure that we're providing the pipeline of available firms to meet the goal and surpass the needs. Our agency services and compliance area actually works with all of the 97 agencies. It's a unit and a division that provides guidance and assistance to the agencies by helping them increase participation of MWBEs. In the division, we have taken an important new oversight responsibility, and we are actually approving and rejecting agency goal plans to ensure that they're meeting with the policies that set forth in Article 15A. We are investigating good faith efforts of agencies and contractors to be sure they are actually looking for MWBEs to service those contracts in a full and meaningful way. We are imposing and recommending remedial actions for agencies that are not moving forward with their MWBE plans as set forth in their contracts. And we are also working to ensure that there is more transparency on how agencies meet their MWBE goals. Our business development unit has done quite a bit over the years. Last year, fiscal 2018, we hosted about 12 expos across the state. We hosted also new programs within different areas in relation to our Training Tuesdays that we do via webinar, where we give information to the MWBE community. We have a mentor protege program where we pair MWBEs with prime contractors on certain procurement contracts to ensure that there is a growth opportunity for those MWBEs to grow capacity. We have a business growth accelerator as well, which is a cohort of about 15 or so MWBEs, so that they have an 18-month training program on scaling, identifying emerging markets, and how they can move into those areas. The first cohort started in 2017. We're about to do the second cohort. We have retooled our outreach to ensure that we are meeting the needs, not just of the MWBE community holistically, but we're looking regionally at the particular needs that a particular region has in order to participate in the MWBE program. So you could imagine that the MWBE availability and needs differ from Buffalo to Tioga County to Plattsburgh to Watertown to New York City and Long Island. I spent a great deal of time this summer going to each of those regions, holding town halls, speaking to MWBEs, and finding out what is the best way that we can service them so that it would be easier for those areas to participate in the program. So I mentioned our forum, and since the last Spotlight had a video, I decided that our division needed one too. So we wanted to show you what will be upcoming in the forum, and then I'll give you some highlights of what to expect. So.
The MWBE program started a number of decades ago. In 1980s, Mario Cuomo, the governor's father, the objective was to help minorities and women obtain state contracts.
I've gotten a lot of support from this program. This is my third year, and I want to keep coming every year because each year I learn something new. I meet somebody different, and I meet somebody unique, whether it's on the floor or through the agency.
From this forum, we've gained a lot of connections from a lot of different agencies across the state and city. We've also been awarded some business from this particular forum as well. So it's just beneficial for us as far as staying in touch with the agencies.
This is the first time that I'm attending this forum, and I'm excited to be here. I think it's a great opportunity for women and minority to come and meet with the decision makers, agencies, contractors, builders, and so many other people that you will have the opportunity to meet. It's a great place to be, and I'm excited to be here for the first time.
This is the only opportunity to participate in a statewide event where you get to meet all of the New York State agencies and authorities, all of the decision makers, all of the procurement professionals who have all collected in Albany with one purpose in mind, which is to help you understand the New York State contracting process, help you understand how you can get additional economic opportunity by partnering with New York State on its various contracting efforts, and give you any kind of resource and technical assistance needed in order to build your capacity, access capital, understand what all of our programs are. We are here to serve you, and we are looking forward to having you attend and participate, not this year, but every year, in our efforts to bring our MWBEs to participate as part of this amazing economic engine in the state of New York.
Firms can grow their business by once again being here. 96 state agencies and authorities and the private sector. If you invest 2 days, I'll guarantee you that you will leave here with solid leads, go back home and follow up, and I'll guarantee you next year this time, I will tell you I told you so. This is the place to be, the largest MWBE conference in the country, led by Governor Andrew Cuomo.
All right, so that was highlights from our 2018 forum. We had over 2,000 registrants, 191 exhibitors, 46 workshops, 150 speakers, and we also did one-on-one partnering at the table meetings with public and private sector decision makings and MWBEs. So they had the opportunity to sit one-on-one with organizations that can contract with them. So this year, 2019, our theme is leading the nation. We lead the nation in the utilization goal. We're leading the nation in innovation in terms of MWBE provision and working with the firms. So it's again scheduled October 2nd and 3rd. Right now we have over 1,300 registrants, 16 sponsors, and close to 200 exhibitors. I think we're sold out, right, on the exhibiting. So we have way ahead of the pace of where we were last year. So we're expecting an even larger conference this upcoming year. Just the last few things I wanted to mention. As I said earlier, Article 15A was reauthorized and signed into law on July 15th by Governor Cuomo. A couple of key things. It's going to extend the program for another 5 years. The director is now authorized to conduct outreach events and workshops and establish mentorship opportunities. And the law specifically says regionally. Of course, we were already doing that, but having it codified in the law means that it has to happen. All regions have to get that customized attention to ensure that they're able to participate in the program. Discretionary spending thresholds for MWBEs, which were $200,000, are now $500,000. That is incredibly huge because it gives smaller MWBEs the opportunity to compete for procurement and not have to go through the lengthy, RFP process. Our certification length time was extended from 3 to 5 years. Thank you, Howard, because we had to, really advocate for that. And it also gives us the ability to work with the Department of Labor and Tax to share records and automate it. That makes it easier and quicker for the applications to get processed. Personal net worth cap, which was at $3.5 million for participation in the program, is now up to $15 million. And we will be commissioning a study to look at industry by industry basis to see if there are other industries that cap should be higher. For instance, investment banking and asset managers, to give more MWB opportunities in those areas. Finally, the statewide advocate is required to now include the number of MWBE complaints investigated in their resolutions, along with now auditing agencies. And that's important to ensure that the law is being complied with. And we're going to be making some adjustments to the minimum requirements in the annual MWBE report, so the information is more impactful and more transparent about what we're doing in the program. So with that, I thank you for your time and welcome any questions.
Great. Thank you, Valerie. Any questions from directors?
My congratulations. Looks like you're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Yeah, my congratulations as well. Great job. It was fun to see all these records being achieved. So I have one question.
Yes.
I saw that we achieved $1 billion in contracts, and we achieved $2 billion in contracts. What did we do last year in terms of?
Well, that's why you have to come to the forum.
Okay.
That's
We practiced this. This was part of the motion, so.
We actually strategically requested, and again, I give credit to the leadership team and the rest of the team of the division, because everything that we've achieved is based on a strong team that I have. But we did strategically ask for our board spotlight to be now, because the forum is in 2 weeks, and we're hoping that many of you will join us.
Well, great work.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Valerie and the team. Okay, Edwin, we're going to turn to you to present a summary of the regional projects.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. Quickly, the directors will be requested to consider 15 projects today, totaling $31,534,000 in grants. The projects will include 5 Buffalo Billion projects, 5 regional council awards, 5 discretionary awards. The projects will take place in the Western New York, Finger Lakes, Central New York, Capital, Southern Tier, and North Country regions, leverage over $60 million of additional investment, retain 314 jobs, and create 52 jobs in the state. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Edwin. We'll kick it off with Amanda in Western New York. Amanda, 6 projects.
Good morning.
Hi.
The first project, the directors are requested to approve $685,000 in grants to Girard Place Housing Development Fund, Inc. for the more than $6 million project to create an education and community center that expands the organization's services to include workforce training opportunities. ESD's funding includes a $250,000 grant from the Regional Council Capital Fund, CFA Round 4, in conjunction with a later grant of $435,000 from CFA Round 7. Girard Place, the former St. Gerard's Parish, is located in a community where 56% of individuals between the ages of 19 and 30 without a GED or vocational training are unemployed. As Buffalo's opportunities in healthcare, research, and education continue to grow, there continues to be a need for employees at all levels. Girard Place has established a workforce training space where, in conjunction with Erie One BOCES, programs are provided for various entry-level healthcare careers, HVAC technicians, and other positions. ESD funding was used to help with facility build-out for the Education and Community Center, which has the capacity to train more than 200 individuals per year. The project helps support the Western New York REDC's priorities of smart growth and workforce development in one of the region's target industry sectors of health and life sciences. The center will prepare low-income, unemployed, and underemployed individuals, as well as individuals who are working in low-wage jobs, to access career ladders leading to high-paying jobs. Participants will also receive wraparound services at Girard Place, including soft skills training, transportation, and child care support. Our second project, the directors are requested to approve $20 million capital grant from the Buffalo Regional Innovation Cluster, Buffalo Billion 2, to the Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority to be used for a portion of the cost of design, renovation, and construction for the $46 million project to reuse and reactivate the former DL&W train shed, including use of the first floor to host a new Metro Rail station and reactivate the upper level of the building for commercial activity on the Buffalo River waterfront. The project will result in an extension of light rail service to a new Metro Rail station located in the re-emerging Cobblestone District, replacing the temporary special event station located south of Canalside. It will include construction of a new station on the first floor, the addition of full access to the second floor for later adaptive reuse by a private developer, the addition of pedestrian connections between the new station, South Park Avenue, and the Shoreline Trail along the Buffalo River, and complete renovations and installations of track work, catenary, and train control systems necessary for the new station to be realized. ESD funding will be provided once the NFTA has demonstrated they have secured the remaining funding for the project via federal grants or other sources. The project is consistent with the Western New York strategy as it advances smart growth initiatives. And then the remaining 4 items I'm going to take as one, since they're all part of one program with 4 separate target areas. The directors are being asked to approve 4 $500,000 capital grants to 3 nonprofits through the new Eastside Commercial District program. This $2 million program will provide funding to small businesses for building renovations in 4 traditional mixed-use commercial districts on the City of Buffalo's east side. This project is part of the governor's $50 million Eastside Corridor Economic Development Fund, an initiative designed to spark revitalization on Buffalo's east side. The program is modeled after the Better Buffalo Fund's Buffalo Main Streets initiative and the New York Main Street program offered by New York State Homes and Community Renewal's Housing Trust Fund Corporation. As a more flexible program than existing Main Street corridor programs, this project will address prior barriers to participation experienced by several small businesses, including access to capital and enhanced technical assistance in project management and delivery. This expanded building renovation program could improve the business climate, combat vacancies, and contribute to the overall revitalization of the corridors. With over 223 businesses that call these commercial corridors home, strong transit connections, and historic building fabric that remains intact, there's the opportunity to create a pedestrian-friendly environment, rehab architectural and culturally significant buildings, and boost the economic activity in each investment area, improving not just the psyche of the East Side, but also the quality of life for its residents.
Okay, you're done, right, Amanda?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from directors on either of these 6 projects? There are the workforce development projects, or downtown revitalization projects, or East Side corridor projects. Amanda, can you just talk for a minute about what you're looking for and what you were looking for in a partner on all of these different kind of corridor revitalization partners? Because you've got some different partners that we're using. Talk about how you decided who to partner with.
Yep. So each of the local program administrators that we're partnering with has already successfully implemented a Main Streets program grant through one of these existing programs. And we chose these target areas because there was demonstrated need both through the public engagement outreach that we did last summer with community stakeholders and through these LPAs. So they've all successfully implemented a program. We're willing to do it again. We're seeking funds again. So it was sort of a perfect pairing of opportunity and need.
Okay, any other questions for Amanda on any of these 6 items? Is there a motion to approve?
I move.
Okay.
Second.
Let me ask if there's any comments from the public on any of these items. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, thanks, Amanda. Way to go. Next up from the Finger Lakes region, we have Lisa Smith. Lisa?
Good morning. We're asking the directors to approve a $500,000 capital grant to the University of Rochester Medical Center from the Regional Council Capital Fund. This grant supports the renovation of a surgical simulation lab and mock operating room suite that includes the purchase of a new 3D organ printer, and that printer prints organs that look, feel, and reacts like live organs. So the University of Rochester Medical Center is known for pioneering innovative medical research and training the next generation of healthcare providers. And this priority project puts the U of R at the forefront of medical application with the ability to create lifelike replicas to advance their capabilities in surgical simulation. It also positions the U of R to supply organ models to other medical centers, which will expand the workforce and create new job training opportunities. This project was completed in July of 2019, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from directors on this item? Lisa, do you think you could get me in line for a trial for one of these 3D knee replacements or something like that?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Jim Fail will now present 3 items from Central New York. Jim?
Good morning. Today, the first item I'm presenting is a $3.6 million grant to the World Racing Group, who are the sponsors of the Super Dirt Week event. That is an annual event that's happened in Central New York since the early 70s. In 2015, when the governor entered into a series of renovations at the New York State Fairgrounds, one of the projects involved tearing down the stadium that used to house this event. And the governor, along with World Racing Group, negotiated a term that committed the World Racing Group to stay and keep the event in Central New York area for 10 years. And this will involve basically renovating a asphalt track up in Oswego, New York, which is about 60 miles north of Syracuse, to a dirt track. And this we have funded separately for the first 3 years the conversions of this track, and this request is to essentially fund it for the remaining 7 years. The major renovations and improvements to the track were done in the first 3 years, so this request will finish and fund the final 7 years of this project. This is a very significant economic impact to the communities. It brings in between 8,000 to 10,000 people from all over, basically the Northeast, for a week in the first week of October. The second project that I'm presenting is a $500,000 grant to Morse Manufacturing for a $7 million total project, which was to acquire, renovate, and equip a $115,000 new facility. Morris specializes in drum handling equipment. This project was completed in June of this year. It was a round 5 priority project, and it retained 34 jobs. The final project I'm presenting is a $1.57 million grant to Courier Plastics for a $9.9 million project to acquire and equip a new facility, which allows them to build out a clean room, which will let them enter into a new medical market packaging products, which is a new product line for this company. This company historically does products like the small, shampoo and conditioner type vials that you see in a hotel room. So this is allowing them to enter into a new market. This project will create 20 jobs to its workforce of 150, and it is scheduled to be completed in early 2020. And the reason we're bringing this today is they have hit their first disbursement goal. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Jim. You sound like you're reporting from the lunar surface. Are you on the lunar surface? Okay, we'll take that as a yes. Are there any other questions or comments from directors on these projects?
I've got a new comment, and I guess it's directed at Eric as it is to the folks in Central New York. Some of these investments don't result in a large number of jobs. And as I heard the description of the Super Dirt Week investment, it seems to me that I would be more comfortable if I had a sense of the multiplier effect of these investments. I know that lots of folks will now go to Oswego, will continue to go to Oswego, but how does it affect us? What is the impact financially or in job development to having all of these people go to see this event, because we're making a major investment? What are your thoughts on that, Eric?
So, very fair question. On the specifics, Rich, do you want to address the specifics of any tourism event and sort of the multiplier effect of the jobs that we're creating, the dollars going into the local community, spreading out these events?
Absolutely, and I think...
And then one last thing. We have also looked at, how do we think about other events around the country coming to New York? And Rich will talk through, in this case, sort of the specifics of how this adds to the economic development.
Yes, so I think it's a great question, Cesar. I think there is definitely a multiplier effect for the tourism visitors. The advantage of Super Dirt Week is that it attracts a significant group of people, particularly because it's a large-scale event, an important constituency. I don't have the exact numbers of visitation to Super Dirt Week, but we can find that out.
No, I heard there was a reference.
8 to 10,000.
8 to 10,000, right, excuse me.
But, what does it mean to us in terms of financially? What does it mean to the state?
Right, well, we can work out the specific economic drivers for that and sort of what the knock-on effect is for those visitors. But we do know that we also have a large set of assets that Super Dirt Week helps extend. Watkins Glen, we have the Saratoga Auto Museum, we have Motorcyclepedia, we have other events for gearheads and people who are interested in this type of event. So we look at this as a way to further cement these assets for the state and to attract those group of people. But we can get back to you on the specifics.
It's not. It's just that is good to hear.
Yep.
And it'd be better for those of us to understand that when these projects come before us. I'm not looking for a half-hour dissertation, but just 2-3 minutes of why this is important to us.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Any other comments or questions from directors on either of these three items, tourism and manufacturing-related items? Any comments from the public on any of these items? Is there a motion to approve all three items?
I move all
Thank
three
you.
items.
All
And
three
I'll
items.
second all three items.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Jim, thank you. Donna Howell now
Thank you.
present from the court an item relating to Cornell Smart Supply Capital Project from the Southern Tier. Donna? Donna, are you with us? Donna Howell? Anyone from the Southern Tier? Okay, we will.
Hello?
Hey, Donna, are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Well, we can now, so welcome.
Okay. All right.
All right, take it away.
Yeah, so this morning, we're requesting the directors to approve a $350,000 grant to Cornell for the capital and working capital expenses for the research and development to determine the best hemp seed genetics for various uses. So this project through Cornell is intended to produce data for the various product options that best align with the varieties of hemp that are best for our conditions in New York State, and also which varieties of those are best for which applications among the various varieties of industrial hemp. So to undertake this, ESD awarded $350,000 to Cornell in December 2017 for the machinery and equipment to perform the research. And the project is consistent with the REDC Council's plan to grow the food and ag industry, and aligns with the state priority to invest in one of the region's significant tradable sectors for an export-based industry. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, I'm going to recuse myself because part of Cornell is part of SUNY, and I am not sure whether this would have an effect, an impact on the SUNY part of Cornell. So I think it be safe. It's better to be safe than sorry, and I would recuse myself.
Okay, very good, noted. Any other questions or comments for Donna on this item related to Cornell? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
I will move.
I will, second, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? None, pass. Okay, thank you, Donna. Erin Hines will present two items from the North Country. Erin?
Good morning. I'll be presenting two projects from the North Country today. The first project is the Village of Carthage Wastewater Capital Project. I'm seeking board approval for $1,650,000 in regional council grant funds to the Village of Carthage for an $8.8 million project to modernize the wastewater treatment facility with new equipment and building improvements that support businesses within the villages of Carthage and West Carthage. This project is especially important for Ox Specialty Paper Facility, formerly Carthage Specialty Paper Board, which is one of the largest employers in the community and the largest user of the wastewater plant. The project is a Round 4 Regional Council priority project and is consistent with the NCREDC plan to assist in the development of municipal infrastructure in North Country communities and grow our manufacturing industries. This project is near completion and will be wrapped up by the end of the month. The second project is a Regional Council capital project, and I'm seeking board approval of $300,000 in Regional Council capital grants for North Country Dairy LLC for a $3.4 million project to purchase new machinery and equipment for specialty Greek yogurt production. Specifically, the project includes installation of 6 4,000-gallon product storage tanks, piping, valves, and pumps, a fruit mixing system, an ultrafiltration system, and clean-in-place system for sanitation. This project will help retain 85 jobs at their St. Lawrence County plant and add 17 new jobs. The project is consistent with the North Country Regional Economic Development Council's plan to support agricultural growth and development and grow our manufacturing industries. The project is near completion and with plans to finish CapEx by the end of the year and hiring for 2020. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions from directors to Aaron on either of these two items? One, municipal infrastructure to facilitate additional manufacturing, and the second item, additional manufacturing in its own right. Any questions or comments from directors on these? Any comments from the public on either of these items? Is there a motion to approve both items?
I move both
Thank you.
items.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you, Aaron. Mike
Thank you.
Yevely will present an item from the Capital Region. Mike?
Good morning. The directors are requested to approve a $350,000 grant to Flomatic Corporation for a portion of the cost associated with a $3.5 million expansion at their manufacturing facility in Warren County, including the purchase and installation of machinery and equipment to increase production. The project was a CREDC Round 7 priority project that is consistent with the Capital Region's Economic Development Council strategic plan. Flomatic Corporation is a manufacturer of high-quality valves primarily for domestic, municipal water and wastewater purposes. The company was founded in 1933 in Hoosick Falls, New York, ultimately moving to their location in Glens Falls. The company invested the $3.3 million to build and equip a nearly 20,000 square foot expansion, including 15,000 square feet of new manufacturing space. A new epoxy coating operation will help increase capacity to nearly triple the company's pre-investment output and will allow larger valves to be automatically processed for faster customer turnaround. The investment also included the purchase and installation of machinery and equipment, including a 10,000-gallon production testing tank as part of a new state-of-the-art research and development lab. The project is complete, held a ribbon cutting June 21st. The project will allow the company to retain 45 existing jobs and create 15 new jobs. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments or questions from directors on this Capital Region manufacturing expansion item? Comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve? Thank you, Cesar. Is there a second?
Second.
Eric, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, thank you, Mike. I think that concludes the regional presentations. And next up, Jonathan Green has a New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund item. Jonathan.
New York Ventures would like to invest up to $1.8 million for a 4.2% ownership stake in a $15 million Series B preferred equity round in Ursa Space Systems. The company does not have any New York State funding to date. They're based in Ithaca, New York. Ursa is a satellite intelligence as a service company that provides customers with a subscription for geospatial intelligence content using standard satellite radar data from multiple vendors worldwide. Proceeds from this financing round will be used to fund the company to break even in Q1 of 2021, including growing their sales and product teams, enabling them to roll out new product features and enter new market verticals. The company has 28 customers currently using its first product, which is an energy information product, and additional products to roll out later this year. The company currently employs 40 full-time employees, 28 of which are based in New York State, and the majority of which are based in Ithaca. The lead investor in this round is Razor's Edge Ventures, which specializes in investing in companies that straddle commercial and government markets. Additional investors are RRE, Paladin Capital, NEA, a group of angels, as well as several significant strategic partners. I'm happy to answer any questions about Ursa Space Systems.
Okay, any questions from directors on this venture item? Based in Ithaca, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What?
Geospatial.
Geospatial.
Yeah, my area of expertise.
Any comments from the public on this item or anything related to geospatial? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve?
I will move it.
Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Okay, next up, Jonathan Byer will present two items relating to the Empire State New Market Corporation. Jonathan.
Thank you and good morning.
The federal New Market Tax Credit Program, enacted in 2000, offers a non-refundable tax credit intended to encourage private capital investment in low-income communities. Community development entities, such as Empire State New Market Corporation, or ESNMC, which is a subsidiary of ESD, apply to the CDFI fund for an allocation of new market tax credits and administer this program. Although the ESNMC Board of Directors approves the projects for NMTC purposes, the UDC Act also requires the ESD Board of Directors to separately determine that any such projects would otherwise be approved by ESD and demonstrate one or more goals. ESNMC recently approved the allocation of up to $6.5 million of federal new market tax credits to Courier Plastics, Inc., the borrower, for equipment, working capital, loan repayment, fit out of a clean room that includes costs related to equipment, but not for construction and working capital, and related expenses for the expansion of a plastics manufacturing company. The project is located in Auburn, New York. Courier was established in 1982 by Raymond J. Courier as a custom injection molder of thermoplastics resins, and is now a preferred supplier to many automotive, medical, telecommunications, and consumer product companies. ESNMC's financing would provide loans to the borrower to help expand the business. As a result, the company is expected to retain approximately 150 full-time, 10 to 15 part-time, and create 20 new full-time jobs. The jobs are expected to pay above Cayuga County's living wage of $11.3 an hour with a comprehensive benefits package. The City of Auburn qualifies as a federal census low-income community. Courier is purchasing new energy-efficient electric molding machines to replace older hydraulic machines, resulting in up to 70% less electric consumption per unit output. This project will also position the borrower to commence a 90,000 square foot expansion that is targeted for 2020 or 21 at an estimated cost of over $12 million. New York State legislation requires ESD to select and prioritize projects demonstrating one or more goals for ESNMC projects. This project meets 3 goals: creating and retaining jobs in low-income communities, supporting environmentally sustainable outcomes, and supporting efforts that otherwise benefit low-income community residents. ESD earlier at this meeting approved a $1.5 million of grant funds for the project, confirming this could be an authorized UDC project. Accordingly, by adopting the ESNMC General Project Plan, finding the projects achieved one or more of the goals, and making all the other required findings, including conducting a hearing and environmental review, this project would be authorized by the UDC Act.
Okay. Thanks, Jonathan. Any comments or questions from directors on these?
Just so I understand it.
Sure.
We gave this Courier a grant earlier, and now it's a tax credit that's before us?
Yeah, this is a new market tax credit, which isn't a grant, but
No,
yeah.
In the past, we've
Yes.
given them a grant.
Yes.
But this time, what is before us, what we're about to vote on, is just
The new market. Yeah. And there are a lot of requirements that they have to meet in order to qualify for new market tax credits. But yeah, I mean, this was a high priority, obviously, in the central New York region. Do you want to talk briefly about some of the requirements? How do you, if you're a company, how do you get new market tax credits or anything like that?
not
Good.
for me.
Okay.
I'm happy.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions or comments for Jonathan on these new market items?
Well, there's a second item.
Oh, I'm
I don't know if we
sorry.
want to do separate votes or
Okay,
one
well,
vote.
you see, when you pause like that in your presentation, I'm going to jump right in.
Okay, I will
So
continue that.
Just don't forget not to pause next time. Just keep going.
Okay. ESNMC approved the Chautauqua Center for an allocation of up to $7 million of federal new market tax credits for a portion of its business of the Chautauqua Center, Inc., the borrower, to finance the construction of a new federally qualified health center, pay for transaction costs and other related expenditures to increase its healthcare services in Jamestown, New York. The 77,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility will be located in the downtown medical corridor of Jamestown in the southern portion of the county. This will create a medical mall and ease the process for obtaining health and support services for the patients of the Chautauqua Center. The borrower is expected to retain 34 full-time equivalent jobs and hire 68 full-time equivalents as part of this project. The Chautauqua Center will serve a low-income population, including at least 60% who are on Medicaid. 35 to 40% of the patients are minorities, including migrant populations. The borrower is also a women-controlled nonprofit organization. New York State legislation requires ESD to select and prioritize projects demonstrating one or more of the goals for new markets projects. This project meets 3 of those goals: creating or retaining jobs in low-income communities, increasing the provision of goods and services for low-income community residents, which would not otherwise not be available at the same price or quality, and supporting minority and women-owned or controlled businesses. By adopting the ESNMC General Project Plan, finding the project achieved one or more of the goals, and making all other required findings, including conducting a hearing and environmental review, this project would be authorized by the UDC Act.
Okay. Do you have
Now
any more?
I'm
Do you have
done.
any more, Jonathan?
No, that's all for today.
Any questions or comments from directors on either of these items? Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve both?
I am.
Thank you.
I make
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Kevin, I believe you have a few admin items you want to run through quickly.
This is true, Howard. I have 3 items, so if I should pause to take a breath or something like that before I do 3,
Well,
you'll know that.
Take your chances.
Thank you. I'll be presenting 3 items for the director's consideration this morning. The first is an authorization to amend the contract with Greenberg Troing for environmental legal services related to the Belmont Park redevelopment project. The proposal is to increase the contract amount from $500,000 to $900,000. The second item, which is the authorization to acquire and dispose of property in accordance with all applicable provisions of the Public Authorities Law, which is to facilitate a transfer of property from SUNY Brockport to the Rochester Economic Development Corporation. SUNY does not have the ability to legally to facilitate this type of transfer, and so we are simply acting as the entity which will facilitate the legal transfer for a fair market value. I'm going to breathe here, Howard. Authorization, the third item is authorization.
Had to swallow.
Enter into a contract for services for up to $500,000 with an organization called Knowledge Builders, Inc. It's a New York State certified women-owned business enterprise. Knowledge Builders, Inc. will help ESD develop a public-facing database of economic incentives as funding was included in the New York State budget this year for this purpose. I am done now.
Okay, appreciate it.
And we can answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, any questions or comments from directors on either of these 3 items? Comments from the public on any of these items? Is there a motion to approve all 3 items?
I so
Is there a
move.
second?
And I will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. I don't believe we have any other items, or a motion to adjourn, perhaps?
I will move.
Okay, well.
I will gladly second.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good job.
Good job.